My first gateway projector was the Nebula Capsule, a portable projector that I could bring around with me wherever I went. Picture quality wasn't amazing, but the convenience of being able to carry around a projector essentially in my pocket was really nice. I could go camping, easily bring it outside, or just throw it on my bedstand and cast content against my wall before bed. It was great. But recently I've been testing the DBPower projector that's a bit more traditional in that it's not as portable, but what it lacks in portability, it tries to make up for in picture quality. It's also only about $200 give or take, which is a little bit less than what the Nebula Capsule offers, at least the newest model. So as you can see here, this looks like any other standalone projector on the market. It features a squat rectangular body that's not too chunky, but it's not exactly something you can throw in your pocket. But it did include a backpack in the box to help you bring this thing around with you on the go. I think that was actually a very pleasant surprise. I'm a bit of a backpack fanatic. I have this backpack wall in my bedroom. Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. So this projector definitely scored a few points with me by including this custom backpack in the box. But with that said, the hardware is fairly standard. You get a fabric cover on top that you can use to rest a smartphone on or a tablet on without fear of it picking up any scrapes or scuffs. And we have some media playback controls. Up front, we have the projector lens with an IR receiver for the remote. We've got some vents on either side of the device with a focus ring on the right side. And in the rear, we have an AC input, another IR remote sensor. We have a 3.5 millimeter audio jack for hooking up some external speakers. There's 2 USB ports, 2 HDMI ports, an AV port, and 5-watt speakers. So for testing purposes, I bought a dedicated projector screen and I hung it up on my wall in my studio and then mounted the projector on a storage rack on the opposite wall, also up high and out of sight for the most part. I didn't want to cast shadows when I stood in front of it, obviously, so I tried sticking it as high as possible. I decided against mounting it to my wall or my ceiling, but it does come with various mounts for you to do that. And what's really cool is that in the settings, you can flip the image around if you need to mount it upside down. There's also a really handy feature called 4D keystone correction, which lets you adjust each corner of the image to make it appear perfectly flat and straight against your wall. This is definitely an underrated feature because it essentially allows you to just set this projector on a flat surface and fine-tune the image in the settings after the fact, as opposed to having to adjust the projector physically, fine-tune the right angle, and yeah, that's more of a headache. Definitely more of a headache. And along with that, we have another pretty handy feature in the settings. It's called digital zoom. This lets you shrink or expand the image to fit the wall or screen that you're casting to. So once again, you don't have to actually move the projector itself. You can just zoom in and zoom out with the software. But let's continue talking about the software because I think it's the software features that can really make a projector a heck of a lot more convenient and easy to use. So this guy supports Chromecast and screen mirroring even on iPhones. So I can just cast my iPhone screen to this projector super easily. But probably the biggest use case for me has just been casting YouTube videos from my iMac over to the projector. As long as the devices are on the same network, you should be able to see the cast icon pop up and you can start casting content over super easily. So it's been really great from that standpoint. The onboard operating system is really quite simple though. You can switch inputs on the left side of the screen, and the main home screen offers you folders to view content that you have via a USB drive or something like that, which, by the way, this projector natively supports PDF files, it supports Excel and Word files, and it should support the most popular video and audio file formats like MPEG, AVI, and MP3 files, as well as JPEG images. So I think in an office or school environment, this projector could also work pretty well. With that said, I think most people are just gonna plug in a Roku like I did, or a gaming console, and just use that device to source content, whether it be through, Netflix or Hulu or one of the many other streaming services. Now, how does it look? So I'm gonna be completely real with you guys. In terms of specifications, it supports a full HD 1080p resolution, and it can cast content at 8,500 lumens and with a 10,000 to 1 contrast ratio. So compared to other similarly priced projectors, I would say it's on par or slightly above par in terms of lumens, which is basically how bright the image gets, which translates to a better picture quality. But even at 8,500 lumens, I found that you really need to have a completely dark room to get the most out of this projector. And if you're coming from like a 4K LCD or OLED TV like I am, don't be surprised if you aren't too impressed with image quality. Just being real. What you have to keep in mind is obviously the different display types. This is a projector, not a TV, and you have to keep everything relative, including the price. Relatively speaking, this projector performs actually really well when compared to, say, the Nebula capsule I mentioned at the beginning of this video. And while I haven't tested all of these similarly priced projectors out there, there's a lot of them, given how it's above par in terms of lumen count, I think it's fair to say it's going to have a better picture quality than many of the other similarly priced projectors on the market. But when I have the blackout curtains closed and it's nice and dark in my studio, I can thoroughly enjoy playing games or watching content. I would say I have it projected to about 100 inches or so, give or take. My projector screen that I bought is about 120 inches, but technically the DBPower projector can max out at 300 inches, which is kind of insane. And even if some of the whites appear a bit washed out and the image is fairly fuzzy when viewing up close, it's a special experience consuming content on such a big display. I mean, a 120-inch TV would be ideal, but I mean, that's gonna break the bank. That would also be way more difficult to transport around. This thing, with the included backpack and everything, you can bring it outside, you can bring it in your studio fairly easily, definitely a lot more easily than a TV. And so I think it's really hard to go wrong for about $200 to $300. As of making this video, actually, the projector is on sale for about $200, but even closer to $300. I think it's a solid offering, and I can see why it's an Amazon Choice product. So I'll place a link in the description if you're interested in adding one of these projectors to your bedroom, your studio, maybe even your family room if it's dark. Just keep in mind, I think to get the most out of this projector, you're gonna wanna use it in a dark environment or at night, otherwise you're probably gonna be a little bit underwhelmed. With that said, I'm Bo HD from Slash.tv. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I'll do my best to answer any questions you have in the comments, and I'll see you right back here in the next one. See ya.